All right. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to our Delegate Candidate Forum for the 2026 State Convention. My name is Jordan Crawley. If I have not met you before, I am the chair of the 34th District Democrats. I'm here in person in a very small conference room with our first vice chair, Rachel Glass, and one of our state committee representatives, Ted Barker, who's off my screen but on his own. Um, Tonight is all about giving folks the opportunity to hear from those of you who've signed up to help lead our organization into the state convention. The state convention is a really great opportunity. There's a lot of educational things going on, opportunity to hear from some incredible speakers from both in and on the Sunday of the convention weekend, an opportunity for us to amplify the vision and priorities of our organization at the state level. And as a delegate, you all get to be a part of that. So tonight is about you making your case about why you should move from being a delegate candidate to being a delegate. Of the 43 folks that we had sign up to be a delegate, 30 of you will get elected to actually be a delegate, 10 elected to be an alternate. And then you'll also be accompanied by some automatic delegates, including myself, Rachel, Ted, and our other state committee representative, Roxanne Thayer, and some of our elected officials from the state and federal level. So that whole group is referred to as our delegation, and those will be the folks representing the 34th to the state convention this year. So without going too far along, I'll hand things off to Rachel for our land acknowledgement.
Thanks, Jordan. Hi, everybody. On behalf of the 34th LD Democrats, I acknowledge the land on which we stand today as the traditional home of the Coast Salish and Duwamish people, the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, and Muckleshoot nations. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering or to this dialogue. And I ask that we take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers of this land on which we live and work, who are still here. And I hand it back to you, Jordan. Oh, I wanted to just say one more thing that would really is an exciting reason to be a delegate is that there are a lot of networking opportunities at the convention. So there's going to be over 1,000 people there. And so there are just lots of opportunities that you will get to partake of and experience.
Yeah, so for tonight, everybody who is speaking will get up to 2 minutes. You don't have to use all of the 2 minutes, but you are welcome to. We're not going to be super strict on timing, but if we're getting close to that 2 minute mark and you haven't finished, I will ask you to wrap things up. We have quite a few speakers to get through tonight, so I want to make sure that we're being respectful of everyone's time. As mentioned in previous emails, our general order is going to be alphabetical by last name. We did have a couple people who reached out with scheduling conflicts, so we're going to bump those couple people up to the front. And we have another couple whose scheduling conflicts mean that they'll have to jump in as they can in the middle of the meeting. So when they are available, we'll move them up to the front. We'll start with, we'll identify the speaker as well as the speaker on deck and in the hole so that everyone can be prepared to speak in order that they're designated to speak. And do you want to just jump right into the order of things?
Sure.
Great.
So thank you for being very patient and paying your attention and your respect to all the speakers. We're going to start our speakers tonight with Patricia Hudson. Are you ready, Patricia?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so very much. Friends, neighbors, and fellow Democrats, my name is Patricia Hudson. I am not new to this fight. I am not new to this community. I am a native of West Seattle, born and raised. My family has called this area home for over 75 years. My grandparents raised their children here while serving working families and as a working family. My grandmother as an RN, caring for our neighbors, and my grandfather as a technician at Bethlehem Steel, standing shoulder to shoulder with working people. They taught me that community is not just a place on the map, it is something you defend. I've lived here in the area of Burien for 32 years. I have served this district as a PCO for over 25 years. I've been advocating for the 34th Legislative District long before it was formally recognized as the 34th LD. My commitment is not seasonal. It is not political convenience. It is decades of showing up. For more than 30 years, I've done the work, feeding our unhoused neighbors when others looked away, fighting for affordable housing when it wasn't popular, standing up for voters' rights when they were threatened, pushing for a living wage, and defending democracy when it was under attack. I don't just believe in democratic values, I've lived them. I have organized for them. I have fought for them. This is not a moment for hesitation. It is a moment for experience, courage, and proven commitment. We need delegates who understand our district, who understand working families, and who are ready to stand firm for housing justice, fair wages, and a democracy that belongs to us all, not just the wealthy and powerful. I have been here, I am here, and I will continue to be here. I would be honored to represent the 34th Legislative District at the Democratic Convention, and I ask for your vote so we can keep fighting together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Patricia.
you. Thank you, Patricia. All right, we're just gonna roll right on. Our next speaker is Adam Whitley. Adam, are you ready?
Yep.
The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for helping organize this. I'll just say a couple quick words before I got to get going, and I will come back and review everybody's statements. I appreciate you all being here. My name's Adam William Whitley. This will be my fourth time as a delegate if elected. Last year was the first time in this wonderful district. I was an alternate delegate, got bumped up to delegate. Never missed a vote. I'm a film professional. I'm in 488 IATSE, as well as a charter member of 111. Very active in the film community. I do a lot of art setups. I am very alarmed at the current state of affairs, as I think we all are. Coming from a youth perspective, I'm having a lot of conversations on the ground. I've been involved in grassroots movements before, and I'm sure I will be going forward as well. This is a year of coalition building, and I think that we all need to stand in solidarity together. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, our next speaker.
608.
Okay, our next speaker is Shalia Allen. Shalia, are you ready?
Can you hear me, Rachel?
Yes. Are you ready
Okay,
to
great. Yes.
go? Okay, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Shalia Allen, and I am running for the 34th District Delegate for the state convention. For the past 20 years, I've been a union organizer, organizing for social and economic rights for workers across the state. First for Unite Here, which is the Hotel and Restaurant Employees Union, and then for SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of SAG-AFTRA, and currently I'm the attorney for the Washington State Nurses Association, which is the union representing over 20,000 nurses in Washington State. I believe currently the Democratic Party in Washington has a bold and progressive platform, and I want to continue building on that and ensuring our platform and resolutions reflect the 34th needs and values. I believe in strong, inclusive, and local focused economic policies, and I'll champion resolutions that help our neighbors and community in attaining good union jobs. I think we need to continue focusing on housing affordability and invest into healthcare and reliable transit and childcare. I also think that protecting our democracy from government overreach is a huge issue right now. I want to stand up for robust, transparent governance that respects all civil liberties and freedom of speech. And I'm committed to advancing racial justice, climate action, and equitable access to education and healthcare. For my LGBT community, I believe that all people must be treated equally and with full protections. And I will advocate for a platform that repairs harm and protects our environment in the 34th. It's easy to talk about what we want, but it's harder to put it into action. And I want to see a Democratic Party that says no to genocide, says no to ICE, and yes to economic policies that reflect the working and poor class and not for corporations. Thank you for your trust and vote, and let's get to work.
Thank you, Shalia. Okay, our next speaker is Heather Barker. Heather, are you there and ready to go?
Hi, I am ready to go.
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So for more than 30 years, I've been proud to do the work of the Washington Democratic Party. For over 20 of those years, I've been active here in the 34th Legislative District. I currently serve as a PCO. I've knocked on doors, made calls, showed up for campaigns and causes that move our values forward. I'm an elementary school teacher here in West Seattle for over 2 decades and raised my kids here. My work in the classroom and experience raising a family have grounded my commitment to policies that strengthen real people's lives. I know firsthand that when we invest in families, we invest in our future. I'm super involved in my union, serving as a representative to the WA and NEA assemblies, and I serve on the Seattle Education Association Board of Directors. I believe that strong public schools protect our democracy. When we nurture the whole child, support educators, and ensure equitable funding, we build a society where every student and every community can thrive. I'm committed to protecting all of our neighbors, ensuring healthcare for all, and building a fair tax structure. Washington State must continue to lead, especially as harmful policies emerge from the other Washington. We have a responsibility to safeguard civil rights, defend public education, and protect our workers, as well as expand opportunities. I believe in a Washington where everyone belongs, where our democracy is strengthened by participation, fairness, and courage, and where our state reflects the best of democratic ideals in action. It would be an honor to represent the 34th LD at the Washington State Democratic Convention and continue doing the steady, meaningful work that makes our state a place where all can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. All right, our next speaker is Adam Bartell. Adam, are you there and ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Great, the
Hi.
floor is yours.
I'm Adam Bartell. I'm a young man who lives in West Seattle. I've lived here since 2021, and I have always been politically inclined, so to speak, and there has never been a period of my life where I have been consistently more angry and frustrated with our political system. And I want to emphasize that I will be somebody who reflects that. I believe in the democratic values that were instilled in me when I grew up. The idea of voting matters. We have a say in our government, and right now it sure as hell doesn't feel like we do on the national level, especially. And I am just so fired up and ready to represent my community at the statewide level. I'm currently a graduate student at the University of Washington, studying public policy. And over the summer, I worked doorbelling as a campaign manager for a school board race in Everett, which we won, thankfully. And I want to feel like I am doing something to help to build a better future, not just for ourselves, but for future generations, because the current status quo is simply not working for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. All right, our next speaker is Richard Bartlett. Richard, are you there and ready to go?
I am.
Great, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to start off with this being one of my messages this year. I've done a lot of protesting and handed out a lot of these stickers. They're very popular. All right. Well, you know me. I've been in the organization for 20 years now. I've been the bylaws chair, the hospitality host. I'm a PCO in 1486. I have run the polling place at Our Lady of Guadalupe for a couple of years, and I'm anxious to carry the message and the thoughts of our members. And I'm looking forward to this. This will be my second convention, and I'm looking forward to going out to Spokane and spreading a little more of our democracy. That's it. Thanks so much. I appreciate you voting for me.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, our next speaker.
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you. So our next speaker on the roster is Steve Butts. Steve, are you there and ready to go? All right.
Yep,
Steve,
I'm all set. Yeah,
the floor
thanks,
is yours.
everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Steve Butts. I've been a member of the 34th since 2006. I initially cold called Ivan Weiss to become a PCO because I was pissed off at George Bush. It seems kind of trivial these days, but anyway, that's how I joined. I was the outreach chair for 14 years, and I served as a KCDCC rep for 2 years back 10 years ago. I'm currently serving my second term as the secretary of the district, and I produce the legacy newsletter. I've been doing that for 10 years. But my first foray into politics was as a senior in high school. I was 17. I was facing the draft, and but I couldn't vote. You couldn't vote until you were 21 back in those days. So in 1970 there was a referendum on the ballot to lower the voting age in the state of Washington to 19 from for state and local elections. So I joined up with a bunch of other kids, and and I grew up in Grace Harbor. We doorbelled there, and we'd come up to Seattle and knock on doors for it. I still have some of the stuff. This is our poster for back then, put in the store windows, that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah. So I guess I got to pick something, to expand on. It would be to protect our voter integrity, and I'm so proud of the state of Washington, that we have such a wonderful voting system. We vote by mail, and oops, is that it? That was quick.
That's your Oscar music.
Well, thanks a lot for your consideration.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. All right, our next speaker is and just for future folks, if I butcher your name and do not say it correctly, please correct me, because I feel that your name is the most important part of who you all are, and I want to be pronouncing it correctly. So our next speaker is Antoinette Contreras Morel. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I love it. You even have the little emphasis on the Contreras Morel. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, really quickly. So the running joke I like to tell people is that I started out my political career when I was just a baby. Growing up in Sacramento, I didn't just live in a capital city. I feel like I was living in the master class of civic engagement. At 7 years old, I was already meeting all the local leaders and future icons of California government, which was amazing, but I didn't realize it until I was much older. By the time I was in high school, I was already finding my footing because I was doing student government. And then I made a pivot before I could even vote as being a precinct leader for Michael Dukakis during his presidential campaign. It was definitely an empowering experience with the realization that I was making a difference. By the time I was 19 was probably my biggest defining moment. I came out as gay, and all of a sudden my activism, it wasn't just about the legacy I had inherited from my mom and everything she taught me, but it was also my fight for my own identity. I spent my 20s and 30s advocating for domestic partnership and workplace equality. And then in 2012, me and my girlfriend, now wife, we got here to West Seattle just in time to join the marriage equality campaign, and I was all over it. We hit the pavement canvassing everywhere from the farmers markets to Hempfest, which was interesting. And of course, by December, we won the right to marry here in Washington, and that was amazing because that was the first state. This would be the first state we lived in where we were like, wow, we can get married. So it was quite a defining moment. Today, I'm probably navigating the biggest obstacle or political obstacle of my life as a parent. Me and my wife have a beautiful 9-year-old daughter. And one of the things we're really working on now, believe it or not, is, with everything going on out in the world, we don't want to impose the battles that we are dealing with, but we are also trying to help her define who she is in this world. In my spare time, I'm a realtor, and I was just on the Hill in January with the Washington Realtors Association. And I feel that serving as a delegate for Washington feels like a next step. I don't want to be just a spectator of history. As a gay woman of color and a parent, I know that our rights are not guaranteed, especially in today's political climate. But the same passion that I have for everything else I do, I would love to bring it onto the floor this June. Thank you all for listening.
Antoinette. Great. We're moving to our next speaker. Karen Engstrom, are you there and ready to go?
I am there. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. The floor is yours, Karen.
Hey, I'm Karen Engstrom, and I am asking to be a delegate to the Washington Convention in Spokane. And I started out very early. I had to be 21 to vote too. But I had some neighbors who took me into the League of Women Voters, and then to be a Ladies for Lyndon during his presidential campaign. And then later on, I moved to San Francisco, and I had became the executive director of United Nations Association. I thought that was just absolutely the cat's eye because that's where it was founded. But the war in Vietnam kind of took a place, and I became volunteer coordinator for Eugene McCarthy there in the city, which was a wonderful experience, good and bad, actually, because of Martin Luther King and the killing of Robert Kennedy. But I moved to Southern California and raised a family in Altadena, and became very involved in environmental things because of fires, not like the one that has happened now, but fires along the foot in the mountains. And we would do restoration projects, and we started a trail building program. And I worked with the city. They're in the county. They're not a city, but they have a council. So I asked them to help with fundraising and all of that. And so I ended up with 2 fires, one in the late 70s and one in 1993 before I moved up here to. Oh, it's really fast. So anyway, I would like to go. I've been there for a good number of years. And I love hearing from everybody else. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. All right. Our next speaker is Preston Anderson. Preston, are you there and ready to go?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And the floor is all yours.
Thank you for accommodating me tonight. Yeah, I'm not feeling too great tonight, but I'm running for delegate, and I hope that folks on the call that are able to vote take what I have to say with kind of a degree of grace and understanding. I think our values, our goals align a great deal. I think folks that know me in the 34th, I've joined the 34th in 2021. I kind of operate a little differently. And what I mean by that is that maybe sometimes my position on the surface of it doesn't ostensibly align with what the 34th or what the local Democrats are proposing or promoting. Maybe ostensibly it sounds counterintuitive and it doesn't sound progressive. But there's a reason behind all my positions that maybe don't align with many of my peers in the 34th or in the Washington Democrats. What I want is the same thing. I want progressive policies implemented. I just think that, over time, our strategy has been really shitty. I voted for Bernie Sanders, or caucused for Bernie Sanders back in 2015. And at the time, I was trying to tell my peers here in Washington State that I had deep reservations about folks supporting Hillary Clinton. And I say all that because I feel like sometimes we get wrapped up in kind of allowing other people to dictate what we should think or do, particularly at the state level, the Democrat, whether it's at the Washington State Democrats or the National Democrats. I feel like we as an organization, whether you identify as Democrat, progressive, independent, we should think independently. We should act independently. We should push back on our elected officials and people that we call our leaders, and stand up for what we think is right. A good illustration of that is the Gaza war. War crimes were committed, and people that know me know that I've served in the military. I've been on 2 deployments. War crimes were committed in Gaza, plain and simple. But the Democratic Party did not do what was right at the time. Let's see, I'm 40. The time goes up, or am I past 44 seconds?
Pass.
Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, I hope folks, take what I said with a degree of grace and understanding. But I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Preston. Okay, our next speaker is Emma Champagne. Emma, there you are. You ready to go?
Yes, I am. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Emma Champagne. I live in West Seattle and I moved to Island for school. I also serve as the state high school Democrats. I think serving as a delegate looks really like 2 separate things. I think there's a degree of learning that as a young person, I'm always thrilled that I get to do these days, and learning how our party works, and also representing the youth of Washington and the Democratic youth of Washington in making a Democratic Party for our future that works well and knows its identity. And I think for me, serving our membership is really important, and getting more youth involved. And I think that attending the convention will really be quite eye-opening for me to be able to see what the processes are and how we can get more involved. I think for our organization and for a lot of youth, unfortunately, even though in our age of connectivity through social media, it can be quite hard to get involved with the party. And I think our LDs also have a difficult time engaging with youth. And so figuring out those ways to connect our communities are really important. So I can share a little bit about what some of my community engagement has been. In the past few years, I've done a lot of door knocking and serving to figure out how we can get youth into more campaign roles and things like that. I also serve on Vashon Island working for an organization to reduce substance misuse, harm reduction, and prevention. And I think that all around in a lot of my work, just connecting youth to the resources that we have in our communities is really important. And that's something that I think our Democratic Party is doing well in some ways. And of course, it's a hard year with the legislature and getting those resources. But I think we can also excited to see how that could happen. So, yep, that's me.
Thanks, Emma. All right, our next speaker is Jennifer Hall. Jennifer? Oh, sorry. Hugo Garcia, are you there and ready to go?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you. Hugo,
I'm
the
gonna
floor
start.
is yours.
Thank you. I'm gonna start in Spanish, but I'll follow in English. Estoy buscando servir como delegado del Distrito Legislativo 34 porque he vivido aquí desde que llegué aquí como niño de 11 años a nuestra comunidad y merece representación basada en experiencia vivida, liderazgo enfocada en local y de diversidad. Como vicealcalde de Buren he trabajado en medio de debates intensos, he navegado consejos divididos y he impulsado simultáneamente la protección de las personas inmigrantes, la vitalidad y la economía. Entiendo cómo los valores demócratas se traducen en una plataforma política a políticas públicas que impactan directamente a las familias en el nivel local. Soy inmigrante nacido en México, pequeño empresario y producto de nuestras escuelas públicas locales. También equilibro el cuidado de mi padre con el servicio público, lo que me mantiene enfocado en las realidades que enfrentan nuestras familias todos los días. El Distrito 34 necesita delegados que defienden a nuestros valores demócratas y construyan fuerza política. Estoy listo para seguir haciendo ese trabajo. I'm seeking to serve as a delegate for the 34th Legislative District because I've grown up here since I immigrated as an 11-year-old kid. As Deputy Mayor Buren, I've led through high conflict policy debates, worked across divided councils, and advanced both immigrant protections and economic vitality. I understand how democratic values move from platform to policy and how those decisions impact families at the city level and community level. I'm an immigrant born in Mexico, small business owner, and a product of our local public schools. I balance caring for my father with public service, which keeps me focused on real world challenges families face every day. The perspective shapes how I lead with resilience, discipline, and long term vision. The 34th District needs delegates who can defend our democratic values while building durable political strength rooted in this community. I'm ready to continue to do that work and to represent our district with integrity, collaboration, and purpose. Thank you for your time.
Gracias, Hugo.
Nada.
Okay, our next speaker is Jennifer Hall. Jennifer, are you there and ready to go?
I am.
Great.
If my video would turn on.
The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hall. It's really great to see everyone. I got to give it up to Mr. Butts for his graphic organizer, the No Trump decorations on his glasses. That was really cool. And seeing a lot of people. Karen Engstrom, you reminded me of my own youth. We had so many of those Eugene McCarthy daisies on our beater car that when we took some of them off, the paint came off with them too. I just retired recently from West Seattle High School. I'm not tired, I'm only retired. When I was working at West Seattle High School and other schools throughout Washington State, I worked really hard. And my primary focus was students and families, and also as a union member and a building representative for many years, my colleagues in getting them proper treatment and advocating for the union to do the best it could. I am also going to be a delegate now for the Washington Education Association retired, and will be at the RA in Spokane in April, and at the NEARA as a state delegate in the summertime. I am a member of Jewish Voice for Peace. I'm a member of Seattle and West Seattle Indivisible. I am an organizer at West Seattle High School. I organized all of the school walk-ins that we had and was strike captain when we went on strike. I was an advisor to clubs, and I was somebody who got a lot of resources together for students. I've also come to the 34th, but not that recently. And I'd like to start again. It's time. So thank you very much for your attention, and please vote for me.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, our next speaker is Bunny Hatcher. Bunny, are you there and ready to go? The floor is yours.
Okay. Oh, good. You can see me. Thank you. I had to switch devices. My computer did shriek and die. But I'm really happy to see everybody tonight. My bio already told you about my years of political activism, service on the Democratic Central Committee, PCO, participation with Indian organizations, and my commitment to our values. But there are a lot of really impressive resumes here tonight. So why should you vote for me to represent us at the convention? Well, I've been a state delegate 6 times and a national Bernie Sanders delegate once. So I have a really good understanding that the primary purpose of the convention is to develop a past platform. And I take this really seriously and have routinely submitted platform amendments and resolutions. And I've even delivered minority reports. And I hope with your support to continue to do that. Our 34th LD is a really progressive. And recent national elections show that progressive ideas, our ideas, are resonating with the voters. So I'll work to make sure that our progressive ideas are reflected in the platform that's developed at the convention. This is the value statement we present to voters and the stage on which we expect our electeds to stand. So if you elect me to represent you as a delegate, I promise not to let you down. I will be the strongest possible advocate for the adoption of the amendments and resolutions our progressive LD submits for inclusion in the platform that we pass at the convention. In order to help power the blue wave we have to create to drown fascism and preserve democracy. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Bunny. Our next speaker is Elizabeth Heath. Elizabeth, are you there and ready to go?
I'm here. Thank you.
Great. The floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Elizabeth Heath. I live in Village Green. It's a retirement community at the south end of West Seattle. I moved to West Seattle originally in the 90s and soon after got involved in the 34th. And I found the meetings very, very energizing and gave me a sense of optimism about our future. And I'm proud to be a part of the 34th, which is one of the most progressive and active LDs in the state. I used to love doorbelling and would doorbell not only to support my PCO, but to go to other districts and support some of their candidates, for example, in Federal Way and even where Kim Schreier was running. So I really enjoyed being active. I ended up with a knee injury, so that ended my doorbelling days. So I'm finding other ways to be supportive in the political process. I've been to 2 other conventions and would like to be at least virtually at the one in Spokane representing our district. My parents taught me civic engagement long ago, and I was involved in student politics, national student conventions, and have stayed politically active. I'd like to see our platform represent our values, which it generally has. I've been fortunate enough to introduce some amendments to improve, and they were accepted with a little help from friends in how to write them. What more can I say here? I consider myself a progressive and was a strong supporter and still am, as well as our current Congress lady. So I hope you will consider me for being a delegate. I think it's important to have the age span of the energy of the youth and the experience and hopefully the wisdom of the elders. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. Moving down the list, we've got our next speaker, Teresa Hill. Teresa, you're ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Teresa Hill, and I was born and raised in West Seattle and came back to live in the Fauntleroy neighborhood in 1990, and we raised our 2 children here. My husband and I owned a printing business called Connect Printing for over 30 years, and I also worked for Seattle Public Utilities during that time for 13 years in program management. We sold our business in the Soto neighborhood to one of our employees, and I retired 4 years later. I have been a Democrat since I first voted as a freshman in college. When Trump was elected the first time, I knew it was going to be bad, and it was. But when he didn't get impeached after his insurrection and Republicans were lining up in support of him again, I knew I had to find ways to get involved, stand up, speak out, and fight back. So I signed up to be a PCO in the 34th LD a couple of years ago, and I am now on the board of the West Seattle Democratic Women, and I joined the 34th Nonviolent Resistance Committee when it was formed. So Trump's chaos, cruelty, and corruption and his disdain for our Constitution have motivated me and have permeated the Republican Party. Republican legislators and Republican-led states have joined in lockstep in his relentless march toward autocracy. So I am volunteering to be a Democratic delegate this year, and I want to do whatever I can to run Republicans out of office as soon as possible. That's it.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Hudayfa Ismail. Hudayfa, are you there and ready to go?
Yes, I'm here. Could
All
everybody
right.
hear me?
Yes, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. First I want to start with saying Ramadan Kareem to anybody that's participating in Ramadan, I just broke my fast right now at 6 p.m. exactly when we were meeting. And so I want to start with hope everyone hears me right. So my name is Hudayfa Ismail, and I went to Denny Middle School. I went to Chief South High School. Later, did also Running Start at South Seattle Community College, and was a recent graduate from University of Washington. I'm also the class of 2026 for the Democratic Institute for a Democratic Future in Washington IDF, where I'm deepening my understanding for state governance, leadership, and the responsibility that comes with public service. This year, I'm really getting into the field and trying to build more experience, try to have that capacity and understanding for how our government flows. I am running to serve as one of the state delegates because I believe deeply in strengthening our institutions and in the responsibility that we share to make them worthy of the people they represent. And I genuinely love how our legislative district is really involved and is really progressive and is moving. I see a lot of activity happening, so I genuinely appreciate that. I am like I said, a first generation graduate, son of immigrants. I lived the promise of opportunity that our party fights for to expand. I understand what economic stability feels like, how and I understand housing insecurity means to families, and I understand the policy is not that theoretical, but it determines whether people can build stable lives in Washington, our state. Professionally, I worked in high pressure environments where coordination, discipline, and accountability mattered. In my community work and leadership experience, I focused on mentorships, civic engagement, which I'm really partaking in this year. And these experiences shaped my belief that culture precedes structure, and that if we want a strong democratic outcomes, I feel like we must model those democratic characters. And it, honestly, like politics, at the end of the day, show up in ways we carry ourselves and what we internally believe. That's what shows up in our politics, and it's a clear example of what's going on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, on we go. Our next speaker. Our next speaker is Celie Savusa. Celie, are you ready? We can accommodate you right now if you're ready to go.
Wow, you guys are awesome.
All right, the floor is yours, Celie.
Thank you so much. This is my first time in seeking a delegate seat for um, the Democratic Convention. Those of you who know me know that I'm a resident in White Center, Washington, and for those of you who don't, uh, my whole professional career has actually been in nonprofit. I worked at Southwest Youth and Family Services as a family center director, the executive director at the White Center CDA, and currently I'm the executive director of the Pacific Islander Community Association of Washington, representing NHPI community across the state. And so we're really pleased and honored to be working alongside so many cool people. And the opportunity for this, I think, is really critical for other young leaders who come from NHBI communities to see themselves in the work of civic engagement in different levels within our local state government. Um, Relationships matter, and this change that we want to see, I want to be able to kind of unpack it and see. I feel there's a lot of trusting relationships here in the 34th District Democrats. I know it's a powerful group. I know it's a mighty group, and really looking forward to the opportunity to help build relationships with folks throughout the communities, BIPOC communities that I also work in. So um, I hope you'll consider me to join the cool people of the 34th District Democrats and the Democratic delegates of Washington State. It would be an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Celie.
She's good.
Okay. All right. Sarah Leone, are you ready and ready to go? Great. The floor is yours.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Leone, and I'm a community organizer and strongly believe in civic engagement and empowerment. However, if you asked me that about 5 years ago, you would have heard the absolute opposite. I, like many, was politically apathetic. I felt if you were just nice to people, that's all you can do, and you leave the voting to the professionals. And then in 2021, my life changed. I met and married a man who had been incarcerated for the last 25 years since 99. And then he told me about a bill that could potentially get him out. And I said, wow, a bill could actually impact my life. So I started investigating. I researched that bill. And then I discovered this thing called TVW. And then I went down the rabbit hole. And then I started hearing about something called balance billing. And with all of my background in medical practice management and medical billing, I learned that I knew just as much as these legislators about this one particular bill. And I realized most bills impact all of us. And I realized that was just a taste. And so I got involved in my local Dems meeting. I went for the first time. I felt like a fish out of water, and everybody knew it. And then I was greeted by a gentleman wearing glasses, and he was in a wheelchair. And that man was Zahid Chowdhury, he was a decorated soldier who got unlawfully detained by ICE. He became my political mentor. And since then, he encouraged me to campaign manage. I knocked on thousands of doors and heard from people what mattered most to them. And I realized most people are screaming on the sidelines and they just want to get involved. And so he encouraged me to do this for a living, and became a community organizer. I worked on campaigns like Burying Minimum Wage, the Seattle Shield for B&O taxes, the Democracy Voucher Renewal Program. And since then, I've learned from a lot of people that my story is not unique. And that's why I'm running for state delegate, because I want to bridge that gap between those who want to get involved but don't know how. And in the last 6 years, I have significantly changed, my trajectory. I've taught a lot of civic education classes, and I know I'm out of time, but as someone who is youth, I want to make voting cool because my grandmother fought for our rights to vote, and I know so many people who don't. And it's a disgrace for those generations who fought for us to vote. And thank you for your time and hope I earn your vote.
Thank you, Sarah. Our next speaker is Randy Litzenberger. Randy, are you there and ready to go?
I'm here. Can you hear me, Rachel?
I sure can. The floor is yours.
Appreciate that. First off, it's been a real treat to hear and see so many wonderful young leaders and veteran leaders here in the 34th Democrats. I had the chance to serve as a PCO for the 34th LD Democrats most of the last 10 years, and the opportunity to serve as a co-chair along with the late Annie Phillips for the Member Policy Caucus for Sustainability, Environment, Energy, and Land Use. And that was a real honor to be part of the organization. Since then, I've had the opportunity to work in the school district that I teach at. I've taught at Bellevue High School for the last almost 30 years now, and I've served as a co-chair for the sustainability design team in the Bellevue School District for the last few years doing work there. I've had the opportunity to doorbell countless times. I've had the opportunity to travel with the Institute for Common Power to places across the Deep South over the last few years as well. And one thing that I've certainly seen is that for my students and for the communities that I've had the privilege to be part of, this is an existential moment for our democracy. I understand that deeply. And so as I hear from a number of folks tonight talking about their activism, their work, their accomplishments in fighting for our democracy, I'm greatly heartened in the course of that. What gives me greatest joy is my family. I live here in West Seattle along with my wife and my two children, one of which is actually running here as a delegate this evening. And I guess I'll leave you with this, that if you get the chance to only vote for one Litzenberger, let it be Spencer Litzenberger. I'll make a shameless plug for him next. Thank you for the opportunity. I'd be honored to serve here as a second opportunity as a state convention delegate. Good luck, everyone, and thanks for the chance to speak tonight.
Thank you, Randy. I hope we don't have to ration you away. All right. Well, without further ado, and speaking of, our next speaker. Oh, okay. We're just adjusting the order a little bit. Our next speaker is Sasha. Sasha, do you only go by Sasha, just the one name? Oh,
I go by
Yes.
Sasha Wasserstrom is my last name.
Sasha Wasserstrom. Okay, thank you for just updating that information. You're ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready to go. Thanks.
The floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Sasha Wasserstrom, and just to echo the previous speaker, I'm so honored to be in such great company with my fellow candidates who are also passionate about serving their communities. Just to speak a little bit about myself and why I'm running. I'm a younger person. I'm a millennial, and as so many folks have talked about in different ways, our democracy is in danger, and we are facing an authoritarian threat, and that's sort of just the bigger picture. My values, the core reason of what I want to see in my community is that everyone is able to live with dignity. And we are seeing this basic value of mine being attacked on all fronts, whether it's our immigrant neighbors being persecuted and thrown into concentration camps, whether it's AI decimating entire industries, whether it's our children having to worry about gun violence in their schools, or whether we have to worry about what we put in our bodies because our food and our environment is being destroyed and polluted. I think I'm very well aware of sort of these issues and so many more, but I'm also well positioned to connect with our community members. Most recently, I was the policy director at the Washington Immigrant Solidarity Network, working on behalf of our undocumented communities, not only here in the 34th, but across the state. I have connections with those community members and organizations, as well as connections with our local and state officials. But I think what I bring that's a little bit different, because everyone here is bringing something unique, is that I bring a sense of fight. I fought diligently for undocumented community members while working for them as the policy director of WISN, and I would bring that to our delegates. I am a person who, I'm a trans person, so I bring a unique perspective in terms of one of the communities that is being attacked right now. And I hope to bring a newer perspective as someone who's on the younger side. So would welcome your vote, and thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you, Sasha. Okay, our next speaker. Oh, okay. So our next speaker is Spencer Litzenberger. Spencer, are you ready and ready to go?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
The floor, yes, the floor is yours.
Cool. My name is Spencer Litzenberger, and I am 16 years old and a junior at Chief South International High School. I've lived in West Seattle for all my life, and I want to bring representation to the younger people, not yet of voting age, who will inherit and feel the effects of these policies nonetheless. I believe that here in Washington, we do well to keep our people's basic rights respected, but we're at a point where it's use it or lose it. We need to ensure that people of my age feel like it's necessary and worthwhile to use it so they can tell people like you what they need to feel not just safe and can come home to a house with food on the table, but feel heard. Feel like we can and need to make a difference. Because we're as fed up as you are, if not more so. With the killing of innocent civilians in the streets, with the economy that feels tailor-made to keep us at the bottom. I don't want people my age's dreams to stay dreams while our nightmares become reality. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Yoo-hoo. Okay, got some fired up folks there. Thank you, Spencer. Okay, our next speaker is Ann Martin. Ann, are you ready? Ready to go? Oh, just unmute yourself and at any time, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hi, I'm Ann Martin. I could take 2 minutes talking about all the positions I've had in the 34th district, but I'd rather tell you a story about the first time I attended a presidential caucus 50 years ago in March of this year. My husband and I were supporting Mo Udall, the progressive candidate for president. Obviously, he did not win the nomination nor the election, but he represented the values of environmental care and social justice that we were looking for. A political journalist described Udall as funny, smart, down-to-earth, sassy, patient. Qualities it would be great to have in a president, but qualities we do not have in the current president. This is a lesson, I think, in politics. You may not always win. You may not always get what you worked for, nor what you hoped for, but you persist. You keep seeking the more perfect union, and if not for yourself, for future generations. And so, even after 50 years, I was 26 at the time of that convention or caucus. After 50 years of striving, I still strive. Please help me continue the fight. Please vote for me, Ann Martin. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, our not Ann? No. Oh, okay. So it's equal. Oh, Mike. Okay. Our next speaker is Mike Mead. Mike, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
You bet. And the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone. My name is Mike Mead. I am a West Seattle White Center resident. I've been here for the last 15, 16 years or so. Been a Washington State resident my entire life. Been politically active in my family my whole life. And I am deeply involved in the labor community. I'm a proud member, as you can see by this background here, of the IAM, the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. Specifically, I work with the airlines. I'm an employee of Alaska Airlines. I've served as a local president for a local lodge that serves about 4,000 members. I'm also now at the district level. We represent about 20,000 members of unions. The main reason why I wanted to get involved is so that I could better work with the Democratic Party and hope to bridge that gap between labor and politics that seems to exist. We oftentimes move in parallel with each other with similar goals, but we sometimes silo each other off to what we're doing, and we don't know the work that we're doing. I come from an education background as well. Part of what I do is talk to new members of unions to welcome them in as they get hired by the companies. And very seldom do I have anybody that really understands what it means to be in a union because of the union density problem that we have in this country today. Washington State, I believe, is fourth in union density. We have about 1 in 5 workers or so that is a member of a union. That's fantastic. I would really like to leverage that into some positive change for the country, and maybe someday overtake Hawaii, which is #1, I believe. That would be the ultimate goal. So thank you for the time to speak on this. I hope to receive your vote.
Thanks, Mike. All right, our next speaker is Grace Mosqueda. Grace, are you there and ready to go?
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi,
My name
the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry to skip ahead. Hi, everybody. My name is Grace Mosqueda. No relation to Teresa Mosqueda. However, I think we may be somehow related. I had not met her until I moved to West Seattle and joined 34th. So I think we are somehow. So more to come on that. But I have something that I wrote down and just so I can kind of be a little bit more organized. Okay, so I grew up in a very Republican household, and through the years, I've looked back proudly on my political development and evolution as I broke through the bubble and gain life experience and empathy. Today, my values very much align with American democratic values, and for the past 10 years, I have been horrified to see evangelicals and the bubble I grew up in align with Trump. Since moving to Seattle from Los Angeles 7 years ago, I've become way more involved and active politically, thanks to the values aligned people and circles I've been drawn to. I am very justice and truth driven and passionate about constitutional rights, voters' rights, immigration rights. My family is a family of immigrants from Mexico. Um, and for the past 2 years, have tried to turn my frustration into something productive, plugging myself into the West Seattle Women's Democrats, the 34th, of course, Indivisible, West Seattle Indivisible, Pramila Jayapal's virtual trainings, and absorbing daily news. I would be proud to represent the 34th as a delegate and be part of the fight against the current injustices in our country. I feel like I'm just getting started with launching pad and a community to be part of. So thank you so much for your consideration time.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Taylor Olson. Taylor, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I'm Taylor, and I feel very strongly that healthcare should be a right for everyone. It's unfortunate that the state of healthcare right now in the country is a policy choice, but is not a foregone conclusion. And we have the opportunity to change that by really pressuring our representatives to make healthcare a priority. With really just cruel federal cuts that have taken place over the last year. Healthcare in Washington in particular is going to be devastated. Many people, 500,000 people are losing healthcare, and it's pretty dire, honestly. And so a bit about me is that I have been first in my family to attend college. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and have been in part of the research community for well over 10 years. And I'll be graduating this year with my doctorate in molecular and cellular biology. And I also grew up socioeconomically disadvantaged, and I understand deeply the benefits of public programs that support our most vulnerable people. And this extends to cost of groceries being mitigated by welfare programs as well as healthcare. And I have over a decade of biomedical research, and so I know firsthand how taxpayer-funded research can benefit the public good. And so I feel very strongly that public health measures and government policy need to be guided by science-backed research and executed as common sense solutions. And so I'm also an active member in West Seattle Indivisible, and over the last year, I've helped drive efforts that support universal healthcare in Washington state, as well as other legislative actions that will help make healthcare more affordable and accessible to all Washington residents. I believe very strongly in social justice, the value of community, no more so than now. We all need to rally together and meet the moment. And we also carry a responsibility to each other and to strive for a better world. And so as a West Seattle resident since 2017, I would be honored to represent the 34th Legislative District as a delegate and fight for universal health care. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Taylor. Okay, our next speaker is Michael Parker. Michael, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't know whether I want the floor or not, but okay. So I have this weird sort of background and whatnot, but I was born in West Seattle at the Junction, and then I then moved away because my parents moved to a different place. We moved around quite a bit. I traveled all over the United States, but also then moved back here in grade school and went to Alki, and then moved away again, and then came back as an adult in 2007 or 2007, and became more active in the Democratic Party. I was always active in the neighborhood and the varying things, but became more when I moved into the 34th and got to know everybody there. And I became a PCO, and now I'm a PCO for a different place, one of the oddest precincts in the city, but I am putting my name forward because I didn't want us not to hit our numbers. So that was the most important thing for me to make sure that happened. The 34th is doing a great job in terms of getting people out, and we have pretty good results. We need to continue that forward. I like working with the people here. I was a what do you call it? What I'm running for one time back in back in time back when, and then I moved again, and I'm back in here. So I came in to make sure that we had people to go.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And there's the music, just in time. All right, our next speaker on the boards is Jonathan Shields. Oh, sorry. Our Jonathan, just hold. You're on deck. But our next speaker is Stephen Rubitz. Stephen, are you ready? And you're still on mute, Stephen.
Yeah, he hasn't figured out how to undo the mute.
Oh, there we go.
It goes.
All right. The floor is yours when you're ready.
Yes. My name is Steve Rubitz, and I'm a retired union machinist. I'm also a lifelong Democrat, and for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been a member of the 34th District Dems and a PCO in the Kovo precinct on Vashon Island. I was also a state delegate in 2020, and I'm really doing this because I think we have to rebuild our democracy, and I'm very much want to play a role in that renewal. Trump has done a whole lot of damage to us, but it's not irreplaceable. I was born in 1943 when our country was part of the world's war against fascism, ironically, against the type of governing that Trump is trying to bring back. I grew up with my parents and the Roosevelt era contemporaries among Americans who faced challenges like those we have now. They faced the economic disorder of the Depression years, and they overcame them with the New Deal. They had to confront hate and oppression of fascism, and they did so, and the Axis powers were defeated. To their credit, the Democrats of Roosevelt's era were able to guide our country to a world leadership instead of yielding to a pariah state like the one that Trump has created. To their credit, they did not tolerate living in a failed economy, one that is ruled by policies that hold dear only the interests of the very wealthy while ignoring the rest of us. As a delegate, I hope my connection to this earlier time and its lessons would be of value in the renewal that we desperately need to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, our next speaker, I just want to confirm, I've got Jensen Martin, but do you go by Adrian Jensen?
I go by my middle name, which is Jensen.
Oh, okay. I think that was why we missed. We were looking at different names, but
Yes,
if you like
it
Jensen,
causes problems all the time.
it's okay. I just want to make sure I got your name right and that we have your name right on the list so that you're involved with everything. So you're next. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, so yes, I'm Jensen, and I'm excited for the opportunity to participate in our democracy and contribute to our party process. I work as an electrician, but in my free time, I volunteer with Fair Vote Washington, House Our Neighbors, and Food Lifeline. And I also sit on the board of Washington Community Action Network, which organizes community members to advocate for healthcare, mass liberation, housing, and economic justice. I come from a family of Democratic voters, and as I often remind them, examining ourselves and discussing the direction of our own party is just as important as organizing against Republican policies and leaders. In my experience, I think that the most effective way to organize is to actually define our values on our own terms rather than define them in contrast to external opposition. Whenever I vote, I try to cast my vote in a way that prioritizes my best values over my worst fears. And my values are rooted in restorative justice principles and the premise that we're all connected. But with that said, those values are also grounded in the reality that in politics, I think there's a saying where they say that there are no solutions, there's only trade-offs. And this reality of trade-offs doesn't diminish the importance of our values. And if anything, I think that acknowledging that there is no perfect solution is what allows us to take responsibility for the positions that we choose to stand by. I appreciate this opportunity, and it's great to see the big turnout in this district. That's really inspiring. If I'm elected delegate, more than anything else, I look forward to serving with gratitude and learning from all of you. That's about it. I don't know if Hugo's still on the call, but Hugo, no soy migrante, pero a veces me siento así. Y puedo hablar español también. Todos estamos unidos en nuestras luchas.
Bien
Basically,
dicho.
basically what that means is there's a lot of intersections in all of our struggles. And, building a platform that's based on those intersections is what I hope that we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jensen. All right. On deck, now we bring you forward, Jonathan Shields. Are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm another old white guy retiree, so I won't take it personally if you vote for any of the other excellent candidates from amongst our diverse choices tonight. But I will tell you a bit more about me just in case you'd consider making room for me in our delegation. I've been a lifelong Democrat, 35-year resident of West Seattle, retired from a 35 plus year environmental career. So environmental issues and public health are near and dear to my heart. I've been a member of the 34 Dems since 2017. Some of you may recognize me as that annoying guy with the big camera taking photos at our meetings and events. I'm also volunteering with West Seattle Indivisible and with local chapters of some of the immigrant solidarity groups. I've served as a 34 Dems delegate to the 2024 convention, where I learned we can influence Washington state and national Democratic Party platforms and priorities. Also, we can get bogged down in minute details of highly specific policy issues, or we can remind ourselves to stay focused on big picture concerns. So my big picture concerns for 2026 include highlighting issues of concern to all Americans that will help Democrats get out the vote. For example, affordability, access to health care, justice, due process, and the rule of law. Also, electing Democrats who will push back forcefully against the current administration's cruelty, lawlessness, and overreach, and doing everything we can to flip the House and hopefully the Senate ASAP so that we can rebuild the America most Americans want. In conclusion, absolutely vote for diversity in our delegation. Vote for delegate candidates who reflect your priorities. If my priorities align with yours, I'd be honored to represent you at the convention.
Thanks, John. Okay, our next speaker is Jenny Schultz. Jenny, are you there? Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Great. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Schultz, and I'm proud to be running as a delegate for the 34th Legislative District. For over 30 years, I've worked behind the scenes, navigating complex challenges, coordinating high-stakes initiatives, and helping leaders make smart, strategic decisions. And now I'm ready to bring those skills into public service for our community. I'm running for delegate because the stakes are too high to stay on the sidelines. I care deeply about where our country is headed, and I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, protecting our democracy, defending marginalized communities, demanding real government accountability, and fighting for healthcare access that people can actually rely on. I don't have a long political resume. In fact, I don't have any political resume. I didn't join 34th Dems. I didn't even know about it until late last year. But I have a tendency, once I get a bee in my bonnet, I kind of jump in with both feet and fully commit and get to work. I'm really concerned about where our country is headed. I think this is really important, and there's no time like the present to show up. So as your delegate, I'll show up, I'll listen carefully, and I'll act responsibly to help drive real, meaningful progress, and I'd be honored to earn your support.
Thanks, Jenny. Okay, our next speaker. No. Okay. Keep missing that top there. So our next speaker is Sarah Talbot. Sarah, are you there? Are you ready?
I am. Thank you very much.
Great. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Talbot, and I'm a PCO for the 34th. I also ran in order to ensure we have a full delegate selection. So will not be crushed to not win. But if I am elected, what I want to stand for is to ensure that our party platform in Washington state prioritizes the reduction of regressive tax systems and the increase of progressive taxes so that we can have an adequate state budget to fund schools, social services, and environmentally responsible infrastructure. I believe that these things are necessary to rebuild trust in democracy and governments as an entity. And I believe that the division in our nation and in our state is largely a result of mistrust and cynicism that's been sown intentionally through campaigns, but also through the failure of our government to solve the real problems in our communities. So that's my platform that I would want to encourage our state to consider. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, our next speaker is Summer Ueda. Summer, are you there and ready to go?
Hi.
Hello, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Summer Weta, and I'm proud to have called the 34th LD home for the last 15 years. I've been a Democrat for as long as I can remember. My political journey started in my youth, door knocking to help elect a Democratic congressional candidate. And that early experience taught me something powerful, that democracy only works when we show up for each other. Since then, I've remained committed to fighting for basic human rights, including access to reproductive health care like abortion and family planning, equal pay, policies that strengthen working families. I believe deeply that our government should protect people's dignity, safety, and opportunities. I am a PCO, and I've had the privilege of connecting with neighbors across our district. I've seen firsthand how important it is that we organize, that we listen, and that we encourage every eligible voter to participate. When we increase engagement, we strengthen our democracy. I also believe that our values are being tested in how we treat the vulnerable, the most vulnerable among us. And I'll continue to fight for my neighbors in our community, regardless of immigration status, sexual orientation, or how people choose to identify themselves. And this is because human rights are not conditional. Every person deserves protection, respect, and a fair shot. I'm seeking to serve as a delegate because I want to continue showing up for the 34th LD, for Washington State, for my community with integrity, compassion, and persistence. And I'm ready to represent our shared values and work toward a future where everyone in our district in Washington State can thrive. And on a personal note, I am a proud granddaughter of American-born Japanese heritage people who were incarcerated during World War II. And the repeat of policies are very offensive. And I just want to continue to ensure that we do not go further down that road. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. Okay, our next speaker is Julie Whitaker. Julie, are you ready to go?
Okay.
Great, the floor is
Me?
yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Hi, I am running for state delegate to represent the 34th at the state convention. I have been a PCO for Carpenter District on Vashon Island for 6 years. I was the treasurer for the 34th for 4 years. I have been a delegate to the state convention twice, actively participating in discussions and voting regarding platform planks and resolutions. I believe that I had an influence promoting democratic values. I grew up in King County in a Democratic household, believing that all of us are equal, irregardless of our differences. My life experiences have given me a well-rounded perspective and understanding of different cultures and people's realities. Touring 8 countries in Europe at age 17, including Russia and East Germany, living in Western, Midwestern, and Eastern states, all of which I believe gives me the qualifications to be a great representative for the 34th at the state convention. I also represent my largely unrecognized and underrepresented demographic, that deserves to have a voice in the platform. I now qualify for Social Security benefits inadequate to provide life's essentials, so I continue working full-time at age 70. I would like to be one of the people to step up and fix this. I'm sorry, to affect policy changes to ensure a decent quality of life for us all. I truly love my country and all the good things it stands for. I am running for delegate to be part of the blue wave that removes Trump and his minions, returning our communities and country to the freedoms, justice, and equality which our country was founded on and we all deserve. I look forward to serving the 34th as a state delegate. I thank you for your vote, and I'm sorry I ran over.
It's okay.
I tried so hard.
No worries. Thanks,
Okay.
Julie.
Okay.
All right. Our next speaker is Jessica Zimbabwe. Do you go by Jess, though?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jess,
thanks.
the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for organizing this forum, and it's so great to hear from everyone. Especially want to thank you for sticking around for the Z. You've made it. We're at the end. My name is Jess. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I've been a PCO in West Seattle near the Junction for the last 6 years. This would be my first time at the Washington Democratic Convention, but I've been involved in Democratic Party work and campaigns everywhere that I've lived since I turned 18. Because I believe that party infrastructure matters, platforms matter, resolutions matter, and who shows up to vote on them matters, especially in our current national context, as so many speakers have noted. Professionally, I'm an architect and a city planner, and I serve as executive director at Environmental Works, which is a nonprofit community design center based in Capitol Hill, Seattle. We work on affordable housing and community facilities like childcare and food banks and immigrant and refugee centers. I also teach urban planning adjunct at the University of Washington. At the convention, I would bring 3 priorities. First, housing affordability. We need a state Democratic Party that is unapologetically pro-housing for renters, for first-time homebuyers, for seniors, for working families, and that supports land use to reduce displacement and expand opportunity. The second priority would be a climate-forward transportation and land use plan. If we're serious about climate action, we have to align those things, housing and transit and infrastructure investments. And third would be economic vitality that's rooted in justice for small businesses, for historic neighborhoods, for community institutions, and we have to make them work for everybody. I do serve on a handful of nonprofit boards, including the National Main Street Center and FutureWise, and I do advocacy work at the state level with the Washington Low Income Housing Association, so I have some understanding of how policy translates into outcomes on the ground. Beyond those credentials, I am a coalition builder. My professional life is about bringing people together across sectors to do hard things. And so if I'm a delegate, I'll show up prepared, collaborative, and ready to work. I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. Okay, is there anybody who is here on the Zoom tonight who did not get to speak, who has registered and has your name in the directory? Woohoo! All right, it looks like everyone who wants to speak has gotten to speak. Jordan?
Yeah, so thank you all for sticking through this. For those delegates who showed up to speak, thank you all for being here. The next step in this process is delegate election. So that's going to be on Sunday, March 1st. And the only people who vote in that election are members who joins the 34th district by the end of the day on February 15th. So those folks, and that may not be some of the people in the room, but you don't have to be a voting member in order to be a delegate. So once those elections get through, our first delegation meeting will be on Sunday, March 8th at 10 a.m. That'll also be on Zoom. I'll send out the details to the folks who end up getting elected as delegates. And but just the short version is that at that first delegation meeting, we'll get to elect our delegation leadership. That includes our delegation chair, delegation vice chair, and then a representative to serve on each of the 4 standing committees at the state convention. I'm going to miss one of them at least, but it's rules, resolutions, platform, and credentialing. I got it. That was the one I was going to miss, but I got it. So each of those four committees gets a representative from each of the LDs in the state. And the people on those committees will do some work over the course of, I think it's a couple months. And then we'll reconvene later in the spring, and we'll get to vote on amendments to the reports that those committees issue. And then that moves us further along into the process until we get to the state convention itself. Does anyone have any questions in the meantime? I want to make sure everybody feels as comfortable as possible with the rest of the process.
I just want to make a question.
Yeah, Roxanne, go ahead.
March 8th is at 10 a.m. is our delegate meeting, right?
Yes, March 8th.
It's also Women's March Day. That's just something to think about.
That's 11, so we've got an hour.
There you go.
Well,
let's start delegation leadership fast.
Yeah, that works.
Before we leave, I'm just noticing Justin. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
If no one's got any questions, we can go ahead and call it. That went way more efficiently than I thought it was going to go. So thank you all for getting that done. I'm not seeing any hands popping up.
Just a reminder that Jordan is recording this. And so if any of you came late or if you know that somebody needed to leave early and so you didn't get to see all the speeches, the recording will be up by
probably tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow. So you will have a chance to look at anything you may have missed or that you want to watch again just to do your research. And if you on Sunday when you're voting, if you need to just refresh your memory about some of the candidates, that will be a resource you can look to. So just giving you that reminder.
And you got something before we close out?
Yeah, I meant to mention it in my 2-minute time. I think it would have fit, but the West Seattle Democratic Women are meeting tomorrow night at the West Seattle Golf Course. There's a disjointed message in the chat that gives all the details. If I've got a couple of seats open, if anybody wants to come, it's a good time to meet other Democrats and possibly some of the people that have been in this delegate forum. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. All right.
With that, we'll call it and let everybody get back to their evening, and good luck.
Good night. And don't forget to vote.